I think we're ready to do this. Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm so glad to have you all. So what I wanted to talk about today was Philippians 4:13 and how I think you may be using it wrong or know someone that is using it wrong. So 4:13 is, I'm able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay, we see that on athletic, like Christian athletes' jerseys, their shoes, clothes, but they use it incorrectly. And they use it meaning I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can run faster than the other person on the track. I can make this field goal. I can make this touchdown. I'm going to win because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And the problem is when it's taken out of like the wrong context. Like, this is not how God is meant to use this. And the problem is there are nominal Christians, meaning people who in name only and they don't live for Christ. Unbelievers will use it, and they can even attach sin to it, meaning they can do all things, because all things is all things, right? So verses are taken out of context all the time in Christian life and aren't glorified for God. And if you see me keep looking this way and this way, I'm looking at my Bible, and also too, I've been working on this in Microsoft Word, writing things down, because I sit here and I see it's sports time, so I see the scripture verses on athletes. And also too, I was watching the new series on Netflix about Colin and everything like that, and this has nothing to do with protest at all, but I don't think people realize that when they just slap a verse on, that doesn't make them automatically a Christian. Like, they slap it on, they're like, okay, I'm a Christian, yay. No, that's not how it works. So to really get into Philippians, it's really nice, and it's beautiful. Like, if I could have one word for Philippians, it would be encouraging. So Philippians, it's 4 chapters in the book, okay? And the thing is, with Philippians, Paul is writing a letter to the church in Philippi, who are the Philippians. He's addressing the believers. It is also important to know, like, the themes in the chapters, because at the time he is writing to the church, he himself, while he is in prison. Let me say that again. Paul is in prison, writing to the Philippians. Okay? And I just wanted to read just out of 4:10, like towards the end. I'm not going to do like, a Bible study, like read with me thing. But this is important of why, people are using 4:13 out of context. So I'm just going to read a little. I'm using She Reads Truth Bible. It's a CS Bible, so Christian Standard Bible. Anyways, 4:10. I rejoiced in the Lord greatly because once again you renewed your care for me. You were, in fact, concerned about me, but lacked the opportunity to show it. I don't say this out of need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I find myself. I know both how to make do with little, and I know how to make do with a lot. In any and all circumstances, I have learned the secret of being content, whether well-fed or hungry, whether abundance or in need. I am able to do all things through him who strengthens me. So, Paul is right here. This is about appreciation of support, okay? Like towards the end of this, getting into Philippians 4, this is about appreciation of support. So Paul is encouraging the Philippians by their faith, calling out to them to give thanks for their willingness to give and to pray for Paul and for the opportunity to help him, okay? So when he sits here and he says, I know both how to make do with little and how I know how to make do with a lot. In any and all circumstances, I have learned the secrets of being content, whether well-fed or hungry, whether in abundance or in need. So he relies solely on God, okay, for his contentment, whether he has a lot or nothing at all. And remember, he is in prison. He's in prison, okay? He has been to the mountaintops and he has been to the lowest of valleys. He's telling them right before he says, I am able to do all things through him who strengthens me. So Christ is that strength to get you through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So is that how we are using this verse? For Christ will give me strength in my seasons of hardship and need, and my seasons of financial burden, my seasons of financial security, my seasons in my darkest, lowest valleys, he partners. Paul is saying, like, you partner with me in my hardships. Like, you are with me. So Paul is saying, I can be in prison and Christ gives me strength. Christ strengthens me even though I'm in prison and I'm at my low. Like, I know you're with me. Like, Jesus has me. And how much more amazing and beneficial to know Christ will be our strength no matter if I'm in a good season or if I'm in a bad season. He's our strength in all things in the lowest of lows. I know how to be content. So he's giving appreciation for that contentment because he knows that in his lowest of lows, God is with him. So when you see these athletes and they slap that sticker or that tattoo on, or anyone, like in these feel-good groups, sometimes, they'll be talking about your brokenness and your strength. And like right now in a Bible study, we're focusing a lot on the broken pieces and how to do that healing. And I'm just waiting for someone to be like, well, I can do all things because of Christ. And I'm just waiting for someone to kind of use that as a text because it makes this video even more beneficial and amazing, because that is not glorifying what God has intended when Paul wrote this. And I don't think Paul was talking to the track athlete that wanted to win. I don't think that's who Paul was talking to at all. And I hope that we can all get the fullness of what God has intended this to be. Because it is dangerous. It is dangerous to put on social media or a t-shirt or, anything like that, a Bible verse, and to use it out of the context. Okay? So we have to be careful. I mean, even on journals and stuff like that, like, yeah, they're beautiful, and sometimes there's even Christian books, and you'll actually find this out when you start digging more into these. Some of these Christian books and some of these Bible studies aren't really on the straight and narrow, okay? They will lead you off, or they do not tell you exactly what's going on with the scripture, or it's not intended on how God intended it to be. And I know that we all see this a lot, on social media, at games. You have a friend that makes t-shirts, keychains, whatever, home goods, and sometimes those people use it out of context. And it happens to me too. I mean, I've been there too, where I've used it out of context, not knowing, loving how it sounds and how it feels, but not digging into it to what it really means. Because just looking at it and saying, well, I can do all things through Christ because he strengthens me. That can be all things. But when you sit here and you really read to this, and you read, if you really read into understanding the Philippians and who they are, because, it's a church in Philippi, and those are the Philippians.